familiar with a lot of these Oceania players. She said Corey is no stranger. A bit of an old hand at these winning ins now. Not had as much success as he'd like in the past. Really trying to turn that around and win this winning in here. But quite a daunting task when you sit down and you're like, oh, one of the best players in the world.
Yeah, Ellis told us that Corey always gets so close, but is never able to actually win the winning in. And you got to feel for him here, getting paired up against Michael Pramawat. If he could kind of break his losing streak here on these winning ins, this would be a wonderful time to do it against one of the best players in the world.
And
it would the odds are certainly against him.
Oh, they would, but it would give him such a confidence boost going into day 2, having that top 32. Of course, we're back tomorrow for 5 more rounds of Swiss, then a top 8 and a top 4 before the finals on Sunday. And, you know, it's always nice to have that confidence boost going into that top 32. You want to go into top 32 on a high, and, you know, whoever wins this game is certainly going to be there. These players have had good tournaments so far. They've had a fair bit of success. They've done well, but they've not done well enough to book their ticket into top 32. So the good news is that it is going to give that boost going into day 32, but only for one of these players. And let's say the other player, they're in lovely Sydney, Australia. There are worse places to be, but I think everybody here really wants to be back here tomorrow. They can find time to explore Sydney later.
Yeah, and this is not going to help Corey. He mulliganed twice, and he is going second. So not a good way to start your winning in round. But, you know, still an entire game to be played. But that's certainly not a good feeling. You give your opponent 2 extra cards, which Michael Pramawat probably does not need the 2 extra cards, but you're giving them to him. And you'll be going second, so you don't get to end away the 2 extra cards. He gets to start off probably doing whatever he wants.
Yeah, that is going to give him a much better chance to have a much more explosive, much faster start. And like we've seen in these best of 3s, winning game 1 is so huge because it means if you get to a game 3, you'll be going first in that game 3. So this game 1, absolutely crucial here. We do see a couple of decks that we've seen this weekend. Michael is going to be playing the... he's playing a Lycanroc deck, and he's playing it with Buzzwole. Corey is also playing a Lycanroc deck, but he's playing it with Zoroark. On paper, we would think that the Buzzwole deck is a little bit stronger, has that little bit of an edge. It would be the favourite presumptively going in, but we've already seen Michael Pramawat playing against this deck on stream so far today, and that ended in a fairly surprising tie when it looked like he really was in a commanding position. So certainly nothing we can take for granted at the moment. We are, as with all of these games, going to have to actually watch and see what happens.
And it's a bit ominous here as there is a massive storm going on outside, so the stage is set here for this final round. There's a lot going on here in the hall here, but prize cards are going down. We see 2 Guzma for Corey. Could end up being a big deal later, but here we go. Handshake, and round number 9 is beginning. Michael Pramawat and Corey Munro. If you're on social media, use the hashtag #PlayPokemon. Tell us who you think is going to win this final round and who will advance to day 2.
Now, we do see a very good start from Michael here. He's got that Remoraid already, ready to evolve up next turn. He's got a Buzzwole already out. He's playing an Ultra Ball to search himself another Pokemon. And the fact that he's discarded a Professor Sycamore generally says, it's all right, I've got more supporters in my hand. I'm feeling pretty good. He does go for that Rockruff, of course, that Bloodthirsty Eyes. So good for bringing those Zoroark into the active so you can get those cheeky KOs with his fighting-type Pokemon, which is absolutely crucial here. And as we see from these fighting decks so often, they don't need the turn 1 Bridget. They can get all of their basics out and then play another supporter like an N, like a Professor Sycamore. Big question here, can he hit an energy off of this Max Elixir here to really get that perfect start? Nope. And the answer is no in the short term.
Yeah, we've seen a surprising number of Max Elixirs whiff completely during the course of the day. You know, these decks aren't playing a ton of basic energy. We have 9 as the standard in these Buzzwole decks, but sure feels like more of them have missed than they should. Except for that Volcanion deck. That one had 14 fire energy, and those did not miss very often.
No, he played 2, and it seemed like he hit 2 every single game, which, you would expect. And speaking of things we expect, that Professor Sycamore, the general rule is if a player discards a Professor Sycamore, they're probably playing a Professor Sycamore, so they'd have to be discarding it anyway. So we do see a new hand of 7 here for Michael, and he's got a lot of options. He's a lot of things he can do, and it looks like he plays a second Max Elixir and actually hits that, getting that all-important fighting energy on the Rockruff.
Yeah, so excellent start for him so far. It's pretty much all he could ask for. All else he could really ask for is that the rules were back as they were 3 or 4 years ago, and he could attack, because then he would win the game. But as it stands, you are not allowed to attack on the first turn if you go first, so he's just going to have to pass the turn. And now it's on Corey. We'll see if he can start off with, well, there it is. That turn 1 Bridget, getting those basic Pokemon into play.
Yeah, he plays 3 Bridget, so he does have an advantage there. Anytime you can grab a Bridget without having to use a Tapu Lele to search it out, that is wonderful, because it means that Tapu Lele is not on your bench. And we've seen over the games today, sometimes Tapu Lele is a good attacker, sometimes it can put in a good shift, but really, Tapu Lele is something you use when you have to. You want your bench full of Lycanrocs and Zoroarks and other good attacking Pokemon. And just very quickly, Michael's start was so good, he even got the Float Stone for the Remoraid. I mean, I suppose that's what happens when you go first, get a couple extra cards for a mulligan. Now, Corey here, you do see he's getting a couple of Rockruff and a Zorua. Zoroark is a risky attacker in this match.
A little bit, yeah, but your deck is built around having Zoroark GX in play and really relies on that trade ability, so you can't not get it into play. You still have to do it. You just kind of accept the fact that at some point it might be an easy knockout for your opponent, but trade is just such a good ability, you can't really play the deck without it.
No, and these decks are built for trade. They play more Bridget, and they play fewer of these draw supporters like N and Professor Sycamore. And if you find yourself in a position where you're not using trade, then you actually find that your deck doesn't function. And that's not a great start from Corey there. Although I suppose he does have the energy on the Rockruff, so...
Yeah, I mean, that's about all he could ask for. He played Bridget, he got an energy attachment. There's really not much else you can do with this deck. Maybe if he got 1 or 2 more basic Pokemon down, he would have been happier, but I think he'll take it.
No, I'll take it back. That's actually a much better start than I was giving it credit for. Sorry, Corey. I underplayed your start, and for that I can only apologize.
And also he opted, well, he just got the 2 Rockruff and the 1 Zorua. He does play Mew EX in his deck, which is a very powerful tech card we see in this matchup, but no, it looks like we see the Guzma going after the Rockruff, so Pramawat saying, I know how threatening Lycanroc GX can be. Let's go after that right away, thanks to the Reggie power from Regirock EX and the strong energy. We see a knockout on the Rockruff, and, well, I don't know if Corey was expecting that one.
No, I mean, he's sitting there, and Michael straight away, he's got the KO on the Zorua because of the weakness, but I like his play. He's basically saying, look, the Zoroark are weak to fighting. I can KO them whenever, but there's a huge difference between a 60 HP Rockruff and a 200 HP Lycanroc. So now, not only have I KO'd one Rockruff, but I've made it so you've got to evolve the second Rockruff, or I'm just going to KO it with Jet Punch next turn, and we could even see a Guzma and a double Rockruff KO next turn. So it really is kind of forcing Corey to evolve this turn. He plays the end here. He's really got to find that Lycanroc to not give up a prize. And Corey, seeing what Michael's doing with those Rockruff, has actually gone for a treble Rockruff on the bench. He is determined to get a Lycanroc out this game.
Sure looks like it. He is going to play the end here and maybe try to set Michael back a little bit. This is an interesting spot. If he attaches Double Colorless Energy to his Zoroark GX and uses Riotous Beating, it'll set up that Buzzwole GX for a 2-hit knockout, but then Pramawat will surely just attach an energy and knock out that Zoroark GX. Corey's going to be looking for one of those enhanced hammers to try to slow down this Buzzwole.
That would be very, very nice here. Now, we do see a trade getting rid of the Bridget, drawing a couple of extra cards. It's an ace roller, and I didn't see that last card, but I don't think it's exactly what he's looking for. And Corey's in an awkward position here, and Michael's almost being given a wealth of choices, like, oh, what do I want to KO? Do I want to get a double Rockruff KO? Would I prefer to just get a KO on a Zoroark? It's like he's spoiled for choice as to what he's going to KO next turn. And it looks like Corey is resigned to just use Riotous Beating for 100 here, which is not bad. It's, halfway to getting a KO there. And Michael here, does he try and go double Rockruff, or does he go Zoroark here? Either way, he's going to be in a really good position.
I think Pramawat's strategy here is essentially follow the energy. On the first knockout, he went for the Rockruff with the fighting energy attached to it. And here, I think he's just going to go right for that Zoroark GX. The Rockruff are not threatening until they get an energy attachment. Once they do, then it can evolve, get a second energy attachment, and use Dangerous Rogue GX. But it does take 2 turns to power up, so when there's no energy on those Rockruff, Pramawat is perfectly happy to go after the Zoroark GX instead.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent point. And we see Zoroark Lycanroc, unlike Boswell Lycanroc, doesn't play Max Elixir, doesn't play Energy Switch. Oh, wow. So there's no way of cheating and getting these energy in play a little bit faster.
Pramawat has a massive turn lined up. He can actually Jet Punch for a one-hit knockout on the Zoroark GX with double strong energy, Choice Band, Regipower. He will get the knockout here and knock out the Rockruff for a 3-prize turn.
Oh, and you see Corey there kind of like, hang on a second, that can't get a one-hit KO on Zoroark.
Like, that can't be right.
And Michael's like, well, it's a fighting Pokemon. I've got many damage amplifiers here. And yeah, that is quite the turn. Jet Punch for, 110.
Times 2.
Times 2 with a weakness.
Yeah, and this is a horrible position for Corey, especially because Pramawat got the Octillery into play. Typically, taking this many prize cards quickly leaves you vulnerable to your opponent playing N, but since he has that Abyssal Hand to fall back on and draw some extra cards, he's going to be in a pretty good spot as this game might just be going into its final stages. All he'll need to get is a Lycanroc GX and an Energy, and he can knock out that final Zoroark GX to win. Corey's just going to have to cross his fingers very hard and hope everything works out.
Yeah, and in a way, this is almost like not the end of the world for Corey. If you're going to lose a game, lose it quickly. Yeah. This is the win and in game. It's why we chose it to be on stream this round. We know that these players have got to win. A tie basically puts both of these players out of top cut, or at least really, really likely to do so. Yep. So both these players need a win. So at least if you lose a quick game here, then that gives you enough time to win game 2, win game 3, rather than lose a long game 1, win a long game 2, and then all of a sudden you just end up in a situation where there's nothing you can do because you end up in a tie. So, I mean, it's hard to find a silver lining when your opponent has quite the start that Michael Pramawat's had, but I think that is the silver lining here, is the fact that at least he's losing a fast game 1, and that's going to give him options in games 2 and 3. Now, we do see a KO from Corey on that Zoroark. He did play a Field Blower as well, but Lycanroc Energy, and it's over.
Pretty much. He gets the Float Stone, so he can draw at least 3 cards off of this Abyssal Hand. If he gets it here, it's over. If not, he could be in some trouble. The Zoroark GX can simply knock out Rockruff, so this game is not completely over unless Pramawat wins right here.
It did look like he drew 2 Choice Band.
Oh, he's got a Sycamore.
Oh, there we go. That's a little bit better. And he did draw 2 Choice Band off that Octillery, which was not exactly what he was looking for. Hopefully these 7 cards will be a little bit better. Yeah. And there we see the energy. There's the Lycanroc. And Michael Pramawat wins a very quick game 1, using that Dangerous Rogue to get a big KO on that Zoroark. And we're off to game 2, but like I said, at least it was quick, because I know we've had a bunch of ties on stream today. This is a very bad round to have a tie.
Absolutely. A tie eliminates both players at this point, essentially. And if you're Pramawat, that's why you are playing the deck you're playing. It can win quickly. We saw him win essentially in like 4 turns there. The absurdity of a Jet Punch with 2 strong energy, Choice Band, and a Regirock EX on the bench. Took a 30 damage attack to knocking out a 210 HP Pokemon and a benched Pokemon as well.
Fighting Pokemon at the moment, sir, it really is just over the top, the amount of tricks they've got. When we had the rotation in September, they lost a bunch of tricks. They lost Fighting Stadium, they lost Corinna, they lost Focus Sash, but it turns out fighting Pokemon are still really, really good. They've got all of these tricks, and we're really starting to see them come together. For a lot of this format, we've not seen these fighting Pokemon really come together, and I think it just took Buzzwole to really have a Pokemon that could take advantage, and you guys are going to see it in a minute when we flick to it. It's a Rockruff party.
Wow, 3 Rockruff here, but one of them is not like the others, Ross.
No, I do kind of want Corey to bridge it here for free Rockruff. He's not going to. That would make no sense, but it would make me happy.
Yeah, we see the 2 different kinds of Rockruff there, the promo one and the corner one. That we'll see another turn 1 Bridget from Corey, and this game's going to feel a lot different. Corey is the one going first in game number 2. Pramawat is not starting with Buzzwole GX, so there's a chance he might not be able to attack, but just being able to go first makes a massive difference in all these matchups. Pramawat was able to take his first turn last game, get an energy down, set himself up to attack turn 2, and Corey was unable to evolve his Pokemon before Buzzwole GX started jet punching. This game, he gets his Pokemon out, he can get an energy attachment down if he has one. Just feels so much better when you go first.
It really does. And now this, he's got the energy on the Rockruff, which is crucial for that dangerous rogue threat. He's got 3 Rockruff out. He's got 2 Zorua out. He really is in a great position to start evolving up next turn. And of course, Michael can get a Buzzwole and a strong energy and a Regirock. He certainly can start taking prizes this turn with his Buzzwole, but last turn when he started taking prizes, getting rid of all the energy, he was really putting Corey on the back foot, whereas now you look at Corey's side of the field and you think, hang on a second, this is not the same game as it was last time. And maybe Michael's got an absolutely perfect opening hand and could KO that Rockruff, but I would be surprised if he was able to do it again.
Yeah, seems pretty unlikely. Max Elixir, though, could be pretty big, and looks like it's going to be a whole lot of nothing. No energy off of that Max Elixir, but the question is, can he attack this turn? A simple Guzma plus any energy can knock out one of the Zorua on the bench and do 30 damage to a different Pokemon. Floatstone could do it as well, but it looks like
the Guzma.
Guzma will be the choice, and turn 1 knockout will be putting the pressure onto Corey.
It is a shame he had no Regirock on the field. He had to use Brooklet Hill to search out that Buzzwole. Had he had his Regirock EX, then he could have got the KO on that Rockruff there, which, like you said last game, follow the energy. And now it's not quite so easy for Michael to get that KO, but he still gets a prize. He still starts putting on the pressure, but Corey is probably not feeling quite as bad as after the first KO last turn, and he's got 1 Zoroark, which gives him 1 trade, couple extra cards. He's still got options here.
Not good ones. He has Professor Kukui. He's going to need these to be 2 pretty good cards. He doesn't have a Lycanroc in hand, and he's already played a supporter for the turn. Only 1 Zoroark GX. This is going to be a disaster for Corey.
This is not what he wanted. Turn 1 was so good. He had all of his basics. He had the energy on Rockruff. And now it looks like he might have to pass with that Rockruff in the active, because it's going to get KO'd on the bench anyway, so you might as well leave it active. So now he does lose that energy on the Rockruff. And now he's got 1 evolution. He's got 0 energy. He's passing back to Michael. And now everything's different. Oh my goodness. Bloodthirsty Eyes is going to take a double KO here. Rockruff's only got 30 HP remaining. And this is just another dream beginning to the game. For Michael, not for Corey.
Oh, yeah. It's a nightmare for Corey. So Pramawat gets a double knockout here on the second turn of the game. Let that sink in. In 2 turns, he'll take 3 prizes. But he's going to put the energy onto his Lycanroc GX, wants to prepare for any surprise Mew EX that could come out and knock out that Buzzwole GX. And I think that's a very smart play. I'm sure he has run into plenty of Mew and Mewtwo over the course of this tournament so far. Seems like just about everybody's playing one of those psychic Pokemon to try to counter Buzzwole.
Yeah, they are everywhere. Of course, one of the things missing that Michael had last game, he doesn't yet have the artillery on the board. So he's going to take 2 prizes here. Corey needs an N. Now, maybe Michael gets the artillery from the N. Fine, that's a risk you've got to take. But Corey needs to get an N this turn. It's absolutely crucial. But it doesn't look like he's got it. Does he have a Tapu Lele in his hand?
He does. So at the very least, he'll be able to go for an N this turn, but he won't even be able to knock out this Buzzwole. It's just looking pretty ugly for him right now. And he gets down another Zorua, which could meet the fate of a Jet Punch next turn. So Pramawat is just in the lead right now. He could certainly falter here as we do see this N. Only going to get 3 cards, and if we see this N paired with an Enhanced Hammer to discard the energy, if Pramawat stumbles for a turn or two, we've seen it many times. Zoroark GX, the constant pressure from Riotous Beating can lead to an easy comeback, but you got to think at this point, if Pramawat simply draws maybe just energy every turn, he'll win the game.
Yeah, you don't need much, and that's one of the things that's great about these fighting Pokemon. Because they're very efficient attackers, if you can just stream your energy, a lot of the time that's all you need, and that's how he lost that game earlier to end up in a tie. He had several turns in a row where he just couldn't get his energy on the board, and that's what actually led to him losing. As long as he can keep the energy here, he's probably going to be okay. Now, we don't see an Enhanced Hammer coming down from Corey, which means, although that Zoroark's not getting KO'd next turn, it's certainly going to be taking a lot of damage, while 30 goes down onto a Rockruff or a Zorua, and then he's going to need the evolution, or there is a chance that Michael could then take a free prize turn and just end the game.
Yeah, he's got a lot of options, and that Buzzwole GX survives with 10 HP, does have the 190. A lot of Pokemon GX have 170 or 180, but the Ultra Beast Buzzwole GX has 190 HP, and you see just how 10 HP can make all the difference. Now it's going to be able to attack once again. If Pramawat can find another Lycanroc GX this turn, maybe go after that Zorua, go down to 2 prize cards, then it's just one Dangerous Rogue GX from his own Lycanroc GX, and well, that's the game, and that's him advancing to day 2. He does find Professor Sycamore off of the Wonder Tag, so... Oh, and there's the Bloodthirsty Eyes as well.
I like this, because now he's got the single prize. So now, after this turn, he's just going to need 1 GX KO.
And a Float Stone for everybody.
Everybody gets a Float Stone. And then, of course, 1 energy on the Lycanroc means he will get the KO on that Zoroark. Basically, whenever he feels like it, there's the artillery that he absolutely needed this turn. So now Corey's ends are going to be substantially less effective. And he gets an energy on a second Lycanroc, just in case.
Yeah, I wonder if it's... ultimately, this will be irrelevant. But I wonder if just putting the second energy on the Lycanroc GX is just the way you seal up the game. There's no immediate way for Corey to get a knockout. I guess this does play around a multi-switch, which we have seen. A couple players have used multi-switch in this deck before. So,
and Corey does play multi-switch in this deck. There is 1 copy of multi-switch in there.
Well, there you go. When you're in this dominant of a position, you try to find whatever takes away your opponent's outs. You just want to be as safe as possible. Look from every angle, say, okay, how can I possibly lose this game? And Pramawat identified, well, if my opponent plays multi-switch and Lycanroc GX, they can Dangerous Rogue my Lycanroc if it has all the energy on it. So spreading them out turns out to be the safer play.
It is a very safe play. Of course, Michael Pramawat does play 2 energy switch, so actually having the energy on the other Lycanroc could be a moot point. I know I saw 1 in his hand there. So he goes down to 2 prizes, and I mean, next turn, if Michael's got an energy or an energy switch, I mean, he basically wins the game. It's a little bit sad. We started this game talking about how Corey, he's lost a few winning ins lately, and he's trying to break that streak, and Michael Pramawat just... he's not having any of it. He has been, I mean, this has been one of the most dominant games we've seen on stream for a little while now. He has been in command for the whole of the 2 games, and he's not letting up.
Yeah, and it's mostly been on the back of 1 Buzzwole GX in both games, taking just incredible amounts of prize cards with Jet Punch. Corey does have the Mew EX in his deck. He's supposed to have this to counter Buzzwole GX, but he just hasn't had an opportunity to use it yet. And at this point in the game, it's just too late. If he uses it, he's just going to get knocked out and he's going to lose.
Too low HP. Now, Corey is making a great play here. He's doing everything he can. He's actually used Bloodthirsty Eyes to drag an Octillery in the active. He's going to KO this while ending Michael to 2 cards. Yep. And, of course, had he put the second fighting on the Lycanroc as you suggested, he would have the immediate response and the game would be his. As it is, he needs an energy or an energy switch, and they will still win the game next turn. But, of course, his options will be slightly limited with that Octillery going down. And we see he's peeking at his cards. Oh, it looks like he's got a strong energy, so he will win next turn. Corey's going to KO the Octillery, and then Micah will just bring up one of his Lycanroc. They've both got an energy and a Floatstone. It makes literally no difference which one he brings up. And Dangerous Rogue is going to close out this game. So there we see the KO from Corey, and there Lycanroc goes into the active. There is the energy, and Michael Pramawat will go into day 2. And it's not a huge surprise. He's a very good player, but it must be a relief for him after getting to that win and in.
Yeah, I mean, no tournament is a given, even when you're as talented